Hello.
Hello. I don't know why I did my hand like that. Sorry, that was kind of weird. Uh, Welcome to What Catholic School Didn't Teach You, where we discuss the messiness and complexities of the Catholic faith and topics that we oftentimes avoid. My name is Katie.
And I'm Jillian.
Welcome back. How you doing, Jill?
Welcome back. I am good. Last pod, I talked about Frederick, RIP, my car
Rip.
that went to
Real one.
Rainbow, to the car Rainbow Bridge.
The Carvana
Um,
in the sky.
yeah, come on in this. Oh man. But as of literally 20 minutes ago, I have a new car.
Yay!
Yes, it is a 2024 Hyundai Santa Fe. She's well, yeah, we're gonna just live her best life. I'm gonna refer to her as a she, but she has I guess a man name, or I guess it could be gender neutral. We're fluid over here.
Gender neutral, baby.
Um,
My dog's name is Sky. Nobody ever
yeah,
knows what he is.
that's true. That's true. And it's Matt Brown, and I didn't tell my husband this before I bought it because he did not come with me during this entire process, and because I'm a strong, independent woman. Anyway, and the Matt Brown, you can't take it in a car wash because it'll scratch the paint. So it
Really?
has to be hand washed
You are
like the
such
queen.
a diva.
I didn't do it on purpose. It's literally the only car they had. It's used. It's okay. And this is the other thing, and I'm not gonna get emotional because I refuse, although when I figured it out, I was hysterical. So as you remember, if you listen to our Yappy Hour, um, Frederick was used, had 2,000 miles on it. The person had it for like a couple of months and it was too much technology and returned it and bought the base model. My new car, whose name is Pio, as in Padre Pio, because it is Matt Brown and it's Franciscan Brown, as one of my coworkers pointed out. And now my car's name is Pio. Pio had, or Pio's original owner had it for 3 months. And guess how many miles was on the car?
Same amount.
2,000 miles. So
Aww.
Frederick sent PO to me, I'm convinced. And it's downpouring here in Pennsylvania today, and rain is a sign to me, especially like when it's like torrential downpour, that like big things are happening. So I think it's only fitting that it started raining today too.
Or
So
maybe Nan sent PO.
yeah, it was a double team from Frederick and Nan for sure. For
Mm-hmm.
sure, because they were buds. They were buds.
You didn't want to name it, it's Hershey Brown. You didn't want to name it
Well,
Hershey?
Rich's cousin has a dog named Hershey, so I didn't want to do that.
Sure.
But no, I like Pio. Um, he looks like a PO. Like
All right.
he or she, depending on how I feel during the day. But
They.
yeah, PO is great. PO has so many features. It's unreal. I didn't even know cars could do that because Frederick was a 2012 Queen and had like nothing. Like this car can like move out of a spot if someone parked too close to me, it would like move itself. I'm like,
Ooh.
that is wild. I don't know if I'll ever do it because I don't trust it, but that's wild. Um,
Wow.
yeah, and like it's wild. It's so many features. It's crazy. I'm gonna have to really study how to use this because
Yeah.
since it's used, the dealership didn't like teach me anything about it. They were
You're
just like,
gonna
here are
read
the
the
keys.
second book in your lifetime, the user's manual
I'm
for
gonna look it up on YouTube. Good try. Good try. And shout out to my godfather who literally helped me figure this whole thing out because I mean I did the research, but he helped and like did more research after I did the initial research to make sure I wasn't getting ripped off. So highly appreciated. Um, so thank the good Lord, the car saga has come to a close. And never want to do it again. I hope I have this car until the day I die because that was horrible.
very happy for you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Katie, how are you?
I'm good. I'm just trying to think like what happened this week. Not much. No, we're good. Just living the life. It's also downpouring here, which is typically like I'm a fan of. But it's just hard to bring the baby places when it's pouring down rain, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So we did Mother's Day on Sunday. It was the final mass at Ithaca College. So all of the students are home. They're gone. And the seniors are gone, which is sad. Um, and yeah, I feel like I had like 10,000 thoughts And I didn't write any of them down, so they are not going to be said on this podcast.
Wonderful.
But do you
Wonderful.
all, listeners, you remember last week when Joe was like, hey, maybe next week I'll have a new car and maybe next week we'll have a new pope? And then I said, that'd be ridiculous.
Well, I'm two for two, people.
Guess what?
Two for.
God likes to humble me and exalt Jill. That's what we learned this
That's
week.
what you get for trying to humble my husband on our podcast last week. So you're welcome.
Rich Tutek personally elected the Pope to humble me.
I couldn't
So,
believe how fast it happened, though. I will say,
rolling
I
into our
had it.
topic, yeah.
Yeah, I had it. My friend Amanda made a Pope Madness type thing, and we all put our like top three choices and like guessed on how many like rounds of voting it was going to take and at what time we were going to see the smoke. And was there something else? I think that was it. I got everything wrong except the time of smoke. I was dead on with the time of
Hey.
smoke. So thank you. Thank you.
Did you know that Prevost was in the running at all?
I did, but literally anyone that said America, I was like, yeah, right. It
I
was
didn't even
just,
know he
I
was
didn't
in the
even look it
running.
up
Yeah.
because I was like, there is no way that in this climate of
And this economy?
2025 in this economy that an American pope will be poping. And I was humbled.
Well,
We're
it
all
feels,
getting humbled up in here.
so today we're going to talk about the new Pope, Pope Leo XIV. We're going to go through a little bit of his history. We are by no means experts. We are by no means scholars. I think we've made
Nope.
that very clear.
But
Uh,
especially with popes.
but
But
especially
this
with
pope.
popes.
Yeah.
So we're going to give you a brief, unprofessional history of, Pope Leo XIV. I will say that choosing him, electing him, feels like a very intentional statement to America.
Hmm.
And we'll get more into that after we go through a little bit of the history. But just think on that for a sec before we get there. So, a little bit of history. Obviously, he's the first American Pope. We all know he's from Chicago. He's a White Sox fan, unfortunately. Um, and he graduated from Villanova with a degree in mathematics.
Yeah, and I have to interject something really quick. All of us, I guess
You're
I can
always.
include myself in this, because now that I live here, everyone from Delaware County, everyone from like the area surrounding Villanova is
Yeah.
like very much championing champ I don't championing
Championing?
yeah championing
Championing?
whatever the word is. It's been a long day. The fact that he went to Villanova and the fact that, the Blue Route, shout out to the Blue Route, that he's the only pope that has ever sat in traffic in the Blue Route. And that I saw one TikTok that was like, I want to know his Wawa
I
order.
saw that one,
Does
yeah.
he know about Hoagie Fest? Is he gonna bless Hoagie Fest?
You better.
Like, it's so funny that that is just everyone's like, yeah, he's from Chicago, but if you're in the Philadelphia area, you're just like, nope, nope, he went to Villanova. He went to
The
Villanova.
he's
Like
one of
that's
us.
like the only thing that matters. And
The
it's so
jokes,
funny.
the jokes are top tier, honestly. Like I
Yeah.
texted our friends this weekend and I was like, I just still can't get over the fact that like our Pope has a brother just chilling in Illinois
Yeah.
somewhere. Like his brother hanging out in Florida. Like
Yeah.
that's so strange to
I
me.
know.
Um, so he entered his novitiate in the Order of St. Augustine in 1977. Um, He served in Peru. This is just a quick timeline. Served in Peru from 85 to 86, Illinois and Wisconsin from 86 to 88, and then went back to Peru until 1998. So he spent a lot of time in Peru. Um, he, after that, went to Chicago, as the Prior Provincial of the Order of St. Augustine's, Province of Our Mother of Good Counsel until 2013. And on December 3rd, 2014, Pope Francis appointed Prevost as the Apostolic Administrator of the Diocese of Chicalejo. So this is where we get into some of the um, controversy. I will say, and this is not an excuse, I think that the Catholic Church has messed up in a lot of places. I think that we should be held accountable. The church should be held accountable for a lot of their actions. And also, I think it would be hard to find a pope in this day and age who was not involved in some way, shape, or form
Mm.
in a sex abuse scandal. And I say that with a very heavy heart and
Hmm.
not excusing the behavior of on any fronts, but I don't know. And looking at all of the other popes, it was like, well, yeah, like, or all the other, not popes, all the other cardinals, it was like, well, yeah, no, they've all had a hand in this. Like
Mm.
that's
Yeah.
a problem in and of itself.
Hmm. Yeah.
And we can't address it right now, which we've been trying to address it for 24 years now.
Hmm.
And we've gotten nowhere with, or it feels like we've gotten nowhere with it. I don't, th I think
Yeah.
we've have gotten places, but um, I don't know. Just that's a little side note. But Prevost was accused of covering up sexual abuse during his time in Chicalejo. This accusation was made in 2002. Um, the victims were Ana Maria Quispe and her sisters, and they claimed that Prevost failed to investigate their cases fully. So the accusation is not that he was actively involved, however, that he didn't investigate, and that investigation led to covering up what happened.
Right.
That's the accusation. The
Hmm.
Diocese of Chicalejo stated that Prevost followed the proper procedures. He met with the victims in April of 2022. He encouraged them to initiate civil action, and he initiated a canonical investigation. When those results came in, he sent those to the Dicastery of the Doctrine of the Faith. So he followed the steps.
Hmm.
The fact that nothing came of it, I don't know what to do with that. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's on Prevost. It kind of, to me, I could be 100% wrong, but it kind of doesn't sound like it is on Prevost, the fact that nothing
Hmm.
came of it.
Right.
Um, and it sounds like it was on even higher ups than him.
Hmm.
The fact that he encouraged them to seek civil investigations, I think is very important here.
Hmm.
So the Keys sisters stated in 2024 that no full penal canonical investigation occurred. So they're saying that never happened. The
Hmm.
diocese is saying it definitely did. Prevost is saying it definitely did, but the sisters are saying no, it did not. So I don't really know what to do with that information, but what I do know is that there was an investigation by um, America Televisión, which is a TV network um, in Peru, and they concluded that the church's investigation was not thorough. On the other hand, there um, is a Peruvian newspaper called La Repubblica, and one of their writers, and speaking to this newspaper, Prevost said, quote, "If you're a victim of sexual abuse by a priest, report it. We reject cover-ups and secrecy. That causes a lot of harm. We have to help people who have suffered due to wrongdoing." So don't really know what to do with this. A
Hmm.
lot of people coming to his defense and saying he's the most honest man I've ever met. There's no
Hmm.
way he covered up something like this. Um, However, we've been burned in the church before.
Right. And also, if you're looking at it through the point of view of the victims, I'm sure, when if this happens to you, you want swift justice and
Hmm.
action to be taken. So I think there's room for both things to kind of be true that, that feeling of wanting more than what was given, which is
Hmm.
valid, but then on his end, doing what is expected and having to go through proper channels because when it comes to like reporting and stuff, there is steps you need to take. You can't
Right.
just be like willy-nilly about it because you can make it even worse. So, and sometimes the system is not set up, regardless if we're talking about the church or in general. Like the system is really not set up to make this go quickly or
Mm-mm.
go well all the time. So I
Right.
think it's might be safe to say that there's truth in both things.
Hmm.
Um, but but it does make me happy to see that the way that he like the stances that he's taken on it and like publicly said like what you just read
Hmm.
because not everyone would say that
No, yeah.
so I think that's a big take it for what it is and trying to see it at both ends of the conversation.
Yeah.
It's always a
Yeah.
tough subject but but
I think
it
you're right.
just but like it just is good to know good
Yeah,
to just be informed that that was something that had happened.
absolutely. And I think it's worth noting that um, Pope Francis viewed him as one of the most reliable clerical authorities,
Mm,
not just in Peru, but just
yeah.
broad spectrum.
Hmm. And
Um,
correct me if I'm wrong. But didn't even Pope Francis get accused of moving people around in the
yeah, that,
scandal and
like
not like I feel like that's something
it's kind of
that
what I'm saying. Like, yeah,
yeah. So again,
like it sucks that we have to be that. It sucks that we have to
yeah.
say, well, yeah, but who among them? You
Oh
know,
gosh,
like
how horrible. I know. You're right.
that is an awful space for us to have to be in, but it is where we are. Like,
Hmm.
you know, I don't know that you'd find a priest older than the age of 40 who didn't have a hand in a scandal like this in some way or shape or form, or isn't involved, whose name isn't tied in somehow, which is terrible.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
I don't have there just is no there's no neat way to tie that up because it's not tied up. We have no idea what happened.
Right.
So that's still an open-ended case over there. But we're gonna leave it right here.
Right.
And we're gonna leave it open-ended right here. We're gonna move this way. So on January 30th, 2023, Francis appointed Prevost um, to the prefect of the dicastery for bishops with the title Archbishop, Bishop Emeritus of Chicalejo. Um, Prevost wanted to stay in Peru, but the appointment moved him to Rome, so that's where he went. He moved
Mhm.
to Rome in January of 2023. On September 30th,
Mhm.
2023, my anniversary,
Woo.
Francis made Prevost a cardinal with the rank of cardinal deacon and assigned the title of Santa Monica Delegui Agostiniani. We're Catholic. We use Latin words.
I mean, you did better than I could even like fathom to attempt. So that's why I'm just laughing and keeping my mouth shut.
I did my best. Um, I know I'm just gonna keep throwing dates at you. On February 6th, 2025, so just what, 3 months ago,
Yeah.
Francis promoted Prevost to Cardinal Bishop, assigning him titular bishop of the um, Suburbicarian Diocese of Havana. So he was just made a cardinal bishop
Mm.
3 months ago.
It's like Frankie knew.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So obviously he was elected on what day was that? May 8th, um, 2025, just a week ago.
Yeah.
Um, as we talked about in our conclave episode or Pope Francis episode, you need two-thirds votes, two-thirds
Mhm.
vote. So that's what he got. And he chose the name Pope Leo the 14th. And this is where I am saying this feels like a very intentional statement for
Mhm.
America. First of all, the fact that they chose now to name their first American Pope is huge.
Mhm.
Let alone Prevost's familial history, like his genealogy history. His grandparents were Haitian and Creole. Like
Mm.
he is like he's this melting pot of a human being, right?
Right.
Um, he chose the name Leo the 14th in honor of Pope Leo the 13th,
Mhm.
who was Pope from 1878 to 1903. And Pope Leo the 13th wrote Rerum Novarium, which is what established our modern Catholic social teaching and promoted labor rights,
Mhm.
particularly in America. And this is huge. First of all, Catholic social teaching, we have done how many episodes, countless episodes on Catholic social teaching. That
Yeah.
is the justice arm of the church.
Hmm.
The fact that he's choosing a name to remember a pope that was so involved in mercy and justice and equality for all
Mm.
is massive.
Hmm.
Prevost has come out against a lot of Trump's policies,
Hmm.
particularly surrounding immigration, uh, particularly surrounding deportation,
Hmm.
um, but also he chose this name because of the rise of AI, which I find fascinating
Hmm.
because of the implications of artificial intelligence in our future, in our uh, future places of employment, and how it might replace human beings and stuff like that. He's looking way, way, way ahead.
Wow. That's awesome.
Like I didn't even think of that when he chose this name, but the first thing that came to my mind is justice, right? AI was the furthest thing from my mind.
Right.
He's
Huh.
looking, I mean, not way, way, way ahead, right? Probably like a year ahead. But
Oh boy. No.
it's also worth noting that Pope Leo the Great, the first Pope Leo,
Hmm.
the legend surrounding him is that he was able to talk down Attila the Hun from invading neighboring countries. And he was the only person, his diplomacy skills were so great and um, were so vast that he was able to talk down like one of, if not the most major conqueror of our existence, which again, I think is very important and there's something to think about.
Right.
Um, his Episcopal motto is in Latin. Uh,
Just read the English version. Don't do that to
so
yourself.
if you want to look that up, go look that up. But the English version is um so we've heard two different variations of it, but it's either in the
Yeah.
one Christ we are one or in the one we are one.
Mhm.
Either way, incredibly important now.
Right.
Um, he has really come out against division and the segregation by party that happens in America. He stood against that firmly. And so choosing this as his motto, knowing the country that he comes from is it's really beautiful in my mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I feel like that's why they picked an American Pope because they're like they need Jesus hoard and not the Jesus that's being portrayed as
Yeah.
Jesus,
Not the white
but
Jesus.
like
It's a real
right,
one.
right. Exactly.
Um, this I found. Very, very interesting. So, in his first address as Pope to the cardinals, he declared his complete commitment to the ecclesial path traced by the Second Vatican Council, which again, very important. Second Vatican Council, we weren't here for it, but our parents were,
Hmm.
and it was a big deal. It was like the first major dividing opinion that the church put out there since the Great Schism in the 1400s.
Right.
Like it
Yeah.
was huge. So the fact that, and it's still honestly debated, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's come out and been like, no, no, we're sticking to it,
Yeah.
bigger than it sounds. Um, he praised Pope Francis's specification of following the Vatican II path um, through the joy of the gospel, his encyclical, Pope Francis' encyclical. And then Leo highlighted six fundamental points. One, the primacy of Christ in proclamation. So this is what he wants to focus on in his papacy. These are the six things. One, primacy of Christ in proclamation. Two, missionary conversion of the entire Christian community. Those are two basic. We hear that all the time. Okay, great. Three, collegiality and synodality, which just means in one we are one. Bringing people together, remembering that we are one faith. We are one people, we are one body, we are one Christ, right?
Mhm.
Four, attention to the sensus fidei, the capacity of the whole faithful to sense the faith. That was the definition of the sensus fidei.
Mm,
But what that means is listening to the lay people,
mm,
following the lay people. If you are unaware, because I was unaware until I don't know how old, the Pope is at the bottom of the hierarchical system of the church. The Pope is
mhm,
the minnow, all right? If you want to look at it like a food chain,
mhm,
Pope's supposed to be the minnow, then the bishops, then the priests, then the religious, then the lay people. We're the sharks. We're supposed to be at the top of the power pyramid here,
mhm,
right? The Pope serves the bishops serve the priests serve the religious life serve the lay people. And obviously, we all serve each other, but that's kind of how it's supposed to work.
mhm,
The power is supposed to be with the people. So the fact that he's saying, in my papacy, what I want to do is listen to the lay people is massive.
mm,
So that's number four. Number five, loving care for the least and the rejected. I'm gonna say that
mhm.
again. Number five, loving care for the least and the rejected. And number six, a dialogue with the contemporary world. Those are six. I mean, some of those are pretty run of the mill. If he didn't
Mhm,
say that, it'd be kind of weird, right? Like, yeah, I want to make sure Christ is at the center. Like, okay, yeah,
mhm.
no, like you should. That's
Right.
good. You're the Pope. It just like I don't know, Jill. It just feels really
Mm,
nice to have a Pope, and Pope Francis was like this too, right? Like it feels like he's continuing that legacy of no, we have to listen to the voice of the people. And
mhm.
if we're not listening to the voice of the people, then we're not serving God.
Right.
And that goes for us as well. But that just really hit home for me, I think.
Yeah. Especially as lay people. We
Yeah,
sometimes don't feel heard. So that is great. Love that.
love it. And just my last point before we talk about our opinions on things. Um, so within the context of church politics and theology, Prevost has been seen as a moderate or a centrist. So actually in April of 2025, so again, like a month ago, An Italian newspaper stated that Prevost was a, quote, cosmopolitan and shy figure who was appreciated by conservatives and progressives within the church. So again, I kind of like that we chose somebody. Like, I think 10 years, not even 10, I think 5 years ago, I would have been like, you should have picked furthest left
Right.
Pope we could get. I kind of like that we've chosen somebody who can see both sides.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's what we need right now, especially America. But yeah, absolutely. The thing that has been getting to me that that is frustrating that it's an American Pope is because like media the media in America, I feel like everywhere, yes. But I feel like especially in America, or maybe it's just because that's what I'm looking at all the time. Like even just like the stupid clickbait stuff that are like, you wait until you see what the new pope did, like blah blah blah. And it's like, are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
Like, what are you trying to do here? Like, and I don't never click it, but it's just like I don't know. It's the Pope. Like
Yeah,
you're really going to reduce the Pope into a stupid clickbait about
exactly. And they
like
didn't
his
care before.
right. Like it's so dumb. Like I'm like America. Stop.
Stop. Piper, no.
Oh my gosh. Like it's just like why? And then I feel like it's like making a mockery of like the papacy and that like because it's and I get like people are excited that it's American Pope and it's like seeing all these things on social media that everyone's like the USA, like yeah. But it's like okay, but also that's not the Pope
Yeah. And it's
thing.
gonna fade in like
I hope
three
so.
three
I'm
more weeks, right? I was watching some commentators. What issue could you possibly have with this man beyond what we brought up earlier, the potential, the alleged covering up of a sex abuse scandal. That is literally the only thing that you should issue I can
right,
find with him. It's a
right.
big issue, but it's the
Yeah,
only issue. The other
right.
issues that you were finding with him is that what
It's too
he
compassionate.
talked
Ooh.
about peace too much in his journey. Oh, somebody was saying one of the news anchors was saying he didn't speak he's an American pope and he didn't speak English in
Oh,
his opening
yeah.
address.
hmm
What do you think about that?
I talked to some of my coworkers about this. I wish I could remember his eloquent response because it was fantastic. But it, I think that was intentional. I think everything that he did and said, and the way he dressed, and the way that he's,
Mm.
was all intentional. I think that, like I was saying before, we see an American and we're like, yeah, America, whatever. And I think by him not even speaking English, he values tradition. You can tell by the like what he's wearing, that was and like with like in contrast to Pope Francis, who was just came out in plain and
Mhm.
in what he would normally dress in. So like there's like a stark difference here, and I think that that was intentional that he
Hmm.
didn't speak English. That's not going to be this like America party that like all of a sudden now America's more important than the
Yeah,
other like like that's not what's happening here. Like and I think that's kind of the message that he was making when he didn't speak in English. Like he
100%.
didn't even say hi. Like literally hi. Like I think that that was definitely intentional.
I think you're right. I think you're right. I found that such a weird comment. Were you mad when Pope Francis came out that he didn't greet the crowd in Spanish or
Yeah.
Portuguese? Like, what? Why were you
Right.
this? You know he's in Italy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Most of the people there are Italian, right? So he's
Right.
gonna speak Italian. Like, I didn't understand that, but they were calling him too woke because he didn't speak English, um, which I think is dumb.
You can't make everybody happy.
Like, I love to complain. I love to complain. I will always find a reason to complain. One thing about me, and I don't like that about myself necessarily, but it is the truth and I do recognize it. These people just want to
Yeah.
complain. They want
Hmm.
a reason to hate him
Right.
because he's not, you know, a cookie cutter mold guy. Like
Hmm.
he's
Yeah.
challenging.
And
He's
I
challenging
think,
everybody, by the way.
yeah, yeah. And I think that at least what I was kind of afraid of happening, but thought that it was a very real possibility was that because, Pope Francis in terms of like how like with his papacy
Hmm.
did lean toward more towards I don't even want to like say like left or right, but
Yeah.
like leaned more towards justice and,
Mm.
like still honoring tradition, but like in a more modern way.
Hmm.
Like he was bringing up a lot of different issues that were like, with the environment and the poor that really wasn't being addressed to this caliber before.
Hmm.
And I think the fear was that we were going to swing the opposite direction and get a pope that was very, very conservative,
Hmm.
that wanted to go back to, no women, even being altar servers or, thing like
Right.
that type of thinking. And I think that's what a lot of people that do agree with that was hoping for. And now that that's not what happened, I think
Mm.
that's where a lot of the anger or um or unhappiness is coming from.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. And it's worth noting, like you said, like he sees himself as a centrist and he's also not the most woke pope.
Right.
He's against women's ordination.
Hmm.
He's not entirely on board with blessing of LGBTQ unions. You
Right.
know, he has some more traditional views in the
Hmm.
Catholic faith. So that's why I think it's just so weird when they're like, he's woke. It's like he's woke because he believes in the gospel. Like that's kind of weird to say. But anyway, I like him. You know, it's funny. Ithaca's not a very Catholic town.
Hmm.
Um, for the locals.
Hmm.
And in my uh kind of friend group I've built of moms, I'm one of two Catholics.
Oh, okay.
Um, and I'm the only one that still practices and that like works in the Catholic world. And so the
Right.
amount of people I've seen them a couple times over the past few days since the Pope was announced, and the amount each of them have come up to me individually and been like, "Do we like this guy? Can you give me the lowdown? What's the deal?"
Right. Yeah. I love that.
I think it's so funny. It's like, I am happy to be a resource. I know about as much as you do. Uh, so thank you for joining us today. I feel like I talked a lot this episode.
No, you were hitting us with the facts, which I
Um,
appreciate because I did not have time to really add to the facts. So,
Hitting you with dates and times. Thank you all for listening. If you haven't already, feel free to follow us on Instagram at What Catholic School Didn't Teach You _pod. You can also watch this on YouTube. Hey,
woohoo!
we are officially a YouTube podcast, so you can go to our channel, What Catholic School Didn't Teach You, um, and see our Jill's beautiful face, and my pale one. And if you want to send us an email, you can do so at catholicschoolguilt@gmail.com. Oh, hey, Trevs.
And Trevor's back. Hi, Bubba.
What's
He says hello to
up?
everyone. Trevor's my dog. For those of you who are not seeing us on YouTube, and he's saying hi.
Yeah, we gotta explain that. All right, and to close this out, Jillian has a prayer for us.
Yes. So in the vein of my newest family member, Pio the car, I thought it would be fitting to end in prayer to Saint to Padre Pio. So this is actually a prayer that Pope John Paul II um, made to Padre Pio. So I thought it fits because popes and all that. So all right. In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Amen. Teach us, we pray, humility of heart, so that we may be counted among the little ones of the gospel, to whom the Father promised to reveal the mysteries of his kingdom. Obtain for us the eyes of faith that will help us recognize in the poor and suffering the very face of Jesus. Be with us on our earthly pilgrimage toward the blessed homeland, where we too hope to arrive to contemplate forever the glory of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you. See you next time.
Pray for the Pope as he prays for us.
Yes.
We will see
Amen.
you next time. Bye,
Bye.
team.